I want to move on now to this fascinating fight now that's happening between, sort of three-cornered fight between Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Now, I have a crazy theory that basically Donald Trump tried to pump up this idea of the arrest to get himself back on the front pages. You've got a really interesting post on your Powerline blog which suggests much the same thing. Walk us through this whole fight with the Manhattan DA, who seems like, he seems like an idiot, frankly, for trying to even pursue these charges. But at the same time, Donald Trump seems to be being exceedingly opportunistic about this, and it's pumping up his tires. He's raising money. He's raised $1.5 million off of the back of it. Where does this all leave the fight with Ron DeSantis?
Well, there's a symbiotic relationship, James, between Trump and the Democratic Party. The Democrats want to make Trump the face of the Republican Party for obvious reasons. He's the guy that they think that even Joe Biden can beat in 2024. And of course, Trump wants to be the focus of attention, so he eats it up, and they have this symbiotic relationship. So this all goes back to the fact that apparently many years ago, Trump had a one-night stand with a porn performer named Stormy Daniels, and then years later, apparently he paid her $130,000 for a non-disclosure agreement to just stay quiet about it. And for years she did, but then she came out, violated the agreement, talked about it. And Trump recorded that payment of $130,000 as legal fees incurred by one of the companies that he owns. And so Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, has been, for I don't know for how long, weeks, months, investigating this. And there's a statute in New York State where if you falsely recorded something for accounting purposes, that is a misdemeanor. So that is what he's been investigating. Problem is the statute of limitations has run on the misdemeanor, and so he has to pretend that it's a felony, and it's a felony if to commit another crime. What's the other crime? Well, the other crime is a campaign finance violation. However, there was no campaign finance violation. The DOJ has already looked at this. Trump used personal funds to pay a personal obligation. That's legal. If he had used campaign funds like Hillary Clinton did, that would be illegal. So the whole thing, frankly, in legal terms, is a farce. And I think now there's a debate going on within the Democratic Party as to whether they want to go ahead and charge Trump or not. On the one hand, they want to keep him in the public eye. Their base would love to see Trump in handcuffs, but the case is so weak, it'll probably fail. And then they're afraid Trump will rise up, stronger than ever.
So, sorry, Rita.
Well, you mentioned that the Democrats want Trump to run because they think Biden can still beat him. Is that the case? Do you think if it is Biden v. Trump round two, that Biden is going to prevail?
I do, Rita. Biden beat Trump in 2020, and Trump certainly has not done anything since then to make himself a more desirable candidate. The majority of people in the United States can't stand Donald Trump. It's not a big majority. It's 52, 54%, whatever. But they're not going to change their minds. Donald Trump is not going to be elected president again. And that's why the Democrats are so desperate to try to make him the Republican nominee.
So where do we stand with Ron DeSantis?
Well, DeSantis is edging closer to an announcement. I think he's going to run. He's finally started commenting on Donald Trump, and in a way that I think is pretty effective. Among other things, he says, well, I can't really say anything about making payoffs to porn performers. That's not in my wheelhouse. I don't have any experience there. But he talks about his record as governor of Florida, which, of course, is fantastic. That is his real strong point. And he distinguishes himself from Trump by talking about COVID and how Trump went along with all these shutdowns, whereas Florida was the free state, during the COVID fiasco. And Donald Trump gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Anthony Fauci, which DeSantis is now attacking him for. That's going to play very well with the Republican base. So I think that campaign is starting to take off.
Fascinating. Well, I'm a big fan of both of them, so I watch with eager anticipation as we get into the pointier bits of the primaries. John Hinderaker, thanks so much for coming on Outsiders, as always.